Hi everyone, TomWasHere, back at it with another haunt review, but in this case it's scare acting. If you were in the Uniontown area on Saturday, October 14th, a very rainy Saturday, October 14th, and you decided to go to Haunted Hills Estate Screampark and walk through Twisted Nightmare 3D, I was one of your clowns that evening. I was invited out by Jessica to be a scare actor at Haunted Hills Estate Screampark. As mentioned, it's probably my haunt home away from home. I've probably covered more events at that haunt than any other haunt, by at least a few. I went to just about everyone. I think every one of the events that, from Christmas, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, they have quite a few throughout the year, and I was out for all of them. So, really cool to see a peek behind the curtain and check out what it's like to be a scare actor at Haunted Hills Estate Screampark. And if you watch my other scare acting reviews, you should know one universal thing about me, and I swear it's not my fault, but obviously, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, fool me 3 times, it's probably my fault. I was late again. I was supposed to be there at 5:30, probably didn't get there until closer to 6. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just leaving the house or, what happens, or, I undershoot the time it takes for me to get there. But anywho, it could be that it was raining and people were driving slow. There's all types of different reasons of why it could be. But anywho, didn't get out there till like closer to 6. So, by the time I got down there into their area where they put costumes on, I put on my costume real quick, threw me into makeup. The makeup, I will say, was the longest makeup experience of all my other haunts because they really did the whole, clown thing where I got the full white. They had some different diamonds on my neck and stuff like that. So it was really well themed, kind of like a John Wayne Gacy type clown, sad, a sad but happy clown. I'm like, oh, this hits too close to real life. It was fun to go through that, obviously to kind of, peek behind, see some of the costumes hanging up that I am very familiar with, having visited Haunted Hills Estate so many times, certain masks and things, so that was cool, and meet some of the people before, obviously out of their scare actor personalities. It was very fun to meet people, like I said, that I have been talking to for years, but never talking to outside of their character. So that was unique and fun for me, and I really enjoyed that portion of it. But once I got my makeup on, they're like, all right, go check out your house, and then, getting everything ready to set up to showtime. So, it was kind of a whirlwind in this regard. Maybe I gotta learn to leave super early and not being late for stuff. Maybe someday. Maybe someday I'll learn that. But anywho, I went up to Twisted Nightmare, and they gave me my room for this evening. The idea of the room was that it was outhouses, and there's a mannequin clown, and there's three outhouses. There's a mannequin clown in the left one, there's a mannequin clown in the far right one, and then the middle one's empty. And the idea is that you're the clown in the middle, and you act like a mannequin basically, and then jump out. Now, I want to know whose decision it was, because apparently this room has a smell of me, one of those like smell things, to add to the immersion level. Certain haunts have been adding things that cause some smells, and according to the security guard that walked through, my room apparently smelled like shit. It was apparently one that was supposed to smell like people, it was an outhouse, so it's supposed to smell like people, taking a pooping in the bathroom. Thankfully, that either wasn't working as well as it should have been. There wasn't a noticeable smell of that. Thankfully. Whose idea was it to put me in the poop room? That's what I want to know. Now, is it like living next to train tracks where after an hour I would have gotten used to it, but that hour would have been excruciating? It's hard to say. But no, thankfully that thing was broken or, or something going on, because there were no smells of poop in there. Awesome. Because I was concerned there. So then when I went in the room, I was like, okay, I'm going to try to find a place to prop up this camera. And I saw one of the outhouses had kind of a roof that led to this far wall. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I just propped it up on there, on that roof and that far wall? And I did that, and it had an okay view of the room, but it wasn't securely up there. And I was concerned. So then I found out the outhouse had like a little, like, it was almost like a divider between the, you know, kind of like the two things there, and I was able to wedge it in there, and it really secured well. So it had a pretty good view of the room. You couldn't see me springing out from my spot. There was really nothing to show me springing out. It would have been that room, that far wall, which would have been more ideal for that to be propped up somewhere. But less ideal because you wouldn't be able to see people reacting to it, because of the room setup, how it was. So I think I put it in the ideal spot it could have been, which is in that corner. You do get to see me like come out of like the edge of like the frame. So, and you get to see the people reacting to it. So that's kind of a win. It's definitely the brightest spot I've had for my scare acting this year. So you can actually see stuff going on in there. You can actually see some footage of people and me putting in work. So that's cool. But I will say this. If you watched any of my other scare actor videos, you've determined now that I've determined that I need a prop to live. I need a prop to make this scare acting go. I don't know why this is. I don't know what type of, I mentioned the other one, like weird Daniel Day-Lewis method acting thing, but I need something to work with. And when I saw the clown makeup, I was like, man, this is really cool. Don't have a character in mind. Went into the area, kind of scanned the environment, did my little Terminator around there scanning for things I could use in the room to add to the character. Initially came up with nothing, and didn't want to be a parody clown. I didn't want to be Pennywise. I didn't want to be the Joker. I didn't want to be whatever, you know. I didn't want to be a thing, you know. I wanted to be something unique. I couldn't pull any reference of what I wanted to be. I tried so hard, but there was really nothing that was coming to mind as far as a clown. And I said, man, what am I going to do in here? I need a prop, and I don't have one. I don't know what I'm going to do the whole evening. I was nervous. Probably more nervous than other ones, because the other ones I kind of had, you know, at least cobbled together like some rough idea of the character of what I was going to do. So then I was like, all right, I knew the first crew was coming, you know, first people were starting to come in and stuff. And I was like, all right, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to figure out like a bad joke and then do my laugh that I laughed through all the haunted houses, but more exaggerated. And that's all I had for like the first group that came in. That's about all I had. So as they came in, I was like, okay, I'm going to, you know, just giggle, and I'm going to, you know, I'm going to giggle, and then I'm going to run through my bad joke I had, which my bad joke was actually stolen. I didn't think about it at the time, but I thought about it right after. It was actually stolen from another scare actor earlier this year. Abby, if you're watching this, you know who you are. I just took her same premise kind of. In her scare actor thing, the joke was, why was the teddy bear sick or whatever, or like, you know, why couldn't he talk or whatever? And it was like, because he's a little stuffed. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm in a room with all mannequins. And so I walked out, and I, you know, basically what my character became at certain points was almost a hybrid of the Mark Hamill's Joker, the Mad Hatter, and a couple other, you know, different other clown elements that I kind of worked my way into this. But I was like, you know, this one doesn't talk to me. Nobody talks to me in here. And I was, you know, I was talking about the other clowns. And I was like, you know what, these clowns, you know, I work harder than these other bozos because they're a little stiff. And then I did my laugh or whatever. And that's what I had going in. And I'm like, man, that's just a, you know, in my idea of it, I was like, okay. I was like, well, we're going to make this work. But I was like, I can't sustain this all night. right before everything opened, right before, I was looking, just kind of like sitting here for the thing, and my foot bumped into something. I was shuffling my feet, and it bumped into something. And what I found was a mannequin head with 4 eyes. And I went, wait a minute, that's Doug. Through several of our Haunted Hills Estate Screampark videos, there was a character that had a head on a stick. The head on a stick was named Doug. Why was it named Doug? Don't know. I just know that was Doug. And I believe that was Doug. In fact, halfway through the night, I actually reached in to see if the mannequin head had an area where a stick could be put in. Sure enough, I was like, this is Doug. This is Douglas here. I was like, so glad I found Doug, because I was going to use Doug. So then I was like, okay, well, what do? I'm going to carry it around. And then I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? So when people walk in, I'm going to be like a statue, and I'm going to have Doug sitting on my leg, just a prop head, and I'm going to have my hand over his head like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like the basketball pass type thing, and I'm going to go heads up. Only I'm not going to throw it. I'm just going to imply, like a pump fake. I'm going to implied throw. That was my first idea. And then I was like, okay, that's cool. All right, I can make this work. I'll go heads up, and then if they stick around in the room, I can give them my corny, stiff, about the other characters being stiff or whatever. Okay, we can make this work. As the night went on, I decided I'm going to truly embrace the jump scare itself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait. I'm going to try to stare at this little ball of thing that's on top of a garbage can. On top of a garbage can, they have this like bubbling ooze, and there's like a ball of ooze on top of the garbage can. And I was like, I'm going to dead-eyed stare at it and hope that I can do that enough that when people walk in, to the point where they're almost like halfway through the room or 3/4 through the room. And then I'm not only going to jump out, just do a quick like turn out, but I'm actually going to get up from the thing, and I'm going to jump high, well, as high as my frumpy ass can, high, and land as close to them as possible. Because if they're looking at anything else, if the person is looking away, if they're looking down, if they're looking back towards their respective other or whatever, if they're not seeing me, and the last time they saw me I was like this, and then suddenly I'm in the air flying towards you with a prop head saying heads up, and the way I try to do it is I'd get up real quick, and I'd hop in the air and I'd go heads up, and then giggle as I hit the ground like a big exaggerated clown giggle. And then I would kind of chase them around the room, is the idea, or at least walk them to their exit. So that was what happened. That was as the night wore on. And there were a couple people I got good with that. Real good. I mean, they were like either not paying attention or didn't whatever, and then I would jump and I'd hit them, and like they would like like audibly scream or like fly back, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. I was feeling good about that. I was feeling good about at least getting some scares out of people, and it's a mixed bag. You're gonna get people that are gonna no sell you. You're gonna get people that are just gonna stare you down. You're gonna get people that are gonna dead eye you and not give you anything. But I would say the vast majority of people, I at least got someone. I at least got some startles, and I'm a big startler when I walk through haunted houses. I don't get scared to the point of like audible scream, but if you can startle me, that's great. I've had several people do it. That's the thing. I'm going to try to get you in some way or another. But after about my 5th or so jump, I started thinking about, I think I said in the video Cliff Averill, but it's Stephen Tulich, who did the Rogers discount double check thing. He got a sack, and then he jumped up in the air and he landed and immediately tore his ACL. Now that's a big, he's an athlete. He is a conditioned football player that went through training camp and all this stuff. I do not jump. I haven't jumped in a considerable amount of time. And a couple of these times, I had jumped pretty good bit across the room, about as far as my stumpy legs could fly. I flew, and tried to land within like a few feet of people. And I was like waiting for the one time where like I hit and then land awkwardly and then have like an ACL or something. And there's nothing scary about a clown rolling around in pain holding their knee. But luckily my knee is intact. I did not hurt myself this day. So I'm thrilled with that. And thanks to, the one thing I will thank Haunted Hills Estate Screampark is for allowing the old man to have a bench for the evening. The cool thing about being the scare actor there, unlike the other places, was for the other places I had to stand up and be on guard the entire time, whereas in this one I could just sit there. And sitting there was clutch. Except for there was times when, like I said, that I would get like I was never tired at any point. I never got tired at any point. But it was more like my back was thing and I was just trying to like stretch it out because you're sitting on a wooden bench. It's not like a lazy boy that you got in there. It's just sitting on a wooden bench waiting to the point where I can then spring out of to scare these people. I will say this one was also, with the clown voice, was most taxing on my voice. Doing the laughing thing and kind of the maniacal crazy clown thing. It was me running around barrels and whatever, and then when I finally sat down, I could feel it in my voice, and I could also feel it like, man, I'm tremendously out of shape. So I'm like, a couple times when I like do the jump and then I'm like running around the room, I realize like, man, I'm old and out of shape. But as the night wore on, it definitely got colder in there. You could feel the temperature drop, and it dropped like an anvil. And with the temperature drop, there was clearly less and less people. So it was one of those things where, like, as the night wore on, less and less people were there. So you're just kind of sitting there trying to figure out, that made it a little bit more challenging for sure, because with everybody there's gaps, and the thing you want to do is when you have a gap in the thing is just try to remember what character you're doing, why you're in there. For being only one night in there, sometimes we go through a significant gap. You sometimes forget, like, wait, what was I doing? What was I doing in here? Oh wait, I was doing that and that and that and hitting my bullet points. Okay, I can do that. So yeah, it was fun, super fun experience. I liked doing it. Got some great jump scares in there and some great footage of the jump scares in there. But then when I heard we were closing down, I had to navigate the hill to their place where you turn in the costumes, and I really almost beefed it a couple times because it was rainy and it was muddy, and a couple times I couldn't see what was going on, and I was like, oh, I don't want to get destroyed, and I almost did. As with everything, Haunted Hills Estate Screampark has built up a reputation. They have a reputation, for knowing to be, some pretty good scares. I always have a good time there, and they have a lot of, great actors that do some great jump scares and other cool stuff. And, as I mentioned in all these haunts, I do not want to be the weak link in your experience. I don't want to let anybody down. I hope that if you came through on Saturday, October 14th, and you braved the rain to come through Haunted Hills Estate Screampark and come through Twisted Nightmare, that I did not let you down. Keep in mind, when you go to these haunts, these people are paying money for this experience. I don't want to be the person that's the weak link. And I mentioned this in all the videos because I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be someone that lets anybody down. I want to be somebody that's like, oh, maybe even not necessarily have to be memorable, but just has to be the one that was there that was like, okay, like that dude did pretty good at his job to scare me that evening. So, let me know your thoughts on Haunted Hills Estate Screampark. Did you brave the rain? Were you actually out there on October 14th? Did you see me in the wild? I'm not big enough of a YouTuber where anybody's like, oh, Yeah, of course, I knew it was you. No, no, not like that. But I mean, just, maybe you didn't realize you see me, but after you see this video after the fact, you'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, cool, I did see you. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. As far as Haunted Hills Estate, I always have a good time there. The cast, people, from security to everybody, people that are there, just, ones that are taking tickets and stuff like that. They always seem to like having me there, and they really, make a big deal when I'm there. So I can't thank them enough for to Jessica and everybody for allowing me to come out and be a scare actor there. I had a great time. The makeup that was put on was really, really cool. They did a great job with the makeup. It looked awesome. And I do, like I said, definitely hit that clown theme. That was awesome. But that'll do it. Haunted Hills Estate Screampark, scare actor for the evening. My final scare acting gig of the season. Because I don't know how much more the 40-year-old man could take. And I know that there's people that are significantly older that work in haunted houses and stuff like that. But I was really giving it my all at all these haunted houses as a scare actor. And I just don't think I could do it for a whole season. Like, you give me a guest actor spot a night here and there, I can make it work. But man, the whole season, tough. Very tough. Kudos to all of you that work in a haunted house as a scare actor all season. Truly a great appreciation from myself. Having now done the scare acting gig, it was it can be a tough gig for sure. Haunted Hills Estate Screampark, scare actor for the evening. Guys, thanks so much for watching. If you are new here, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for supporting me on Patreon like John Bailey did. You can do so. Link is in the description below. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt, a TomWasHere t-shirt, or a TomWasHere Halloween Haunts t-shirt, you can do so at Spreadshirt, as well as links to my eBay store, Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, and the Pennsylvania Autograph Collectors Association. Links are in the description below. Guys, thanks so much for watching. And until the next haunted house review, we will see you soon. But until then, bye everyone.